Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Tippecanoe County Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, December 4th. Would you please rise and join me with the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first order of business is the approval of meeting minutes from our meeting on November 6th and November 20th.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we approve those minutes, both sets of minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Accounts payable. Paula.
Mr. President, I'd like to recommend the claims from November 29th through December 4th, 2023 be approved without exception.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes.
Mr. President, I would also like to recommend the payroll dated November 22nd, 2023 be approved without exception.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion we hear ordinance 2023-26-CM on second and final reading.
Second.
Doug?
Yeah, this is second reading, so I don't know how much more detail you want from first reading, but in addition to your home rule powers, it relies on the authority you've been given to regulate excavation, drilling, and other movement of earth, to promote economic development, to regulate the use or possession of property that might endanger the public health, safety, and welfare, your authority to regulate business use of a water course and to maintain and control water courses, and regulate conduct that might affect the temperature or flow of water in that water course. And so it pretty simply puts a 9-month moratorium on high-volume exports of water outside the county. In the meantime, it directs you to study the potential impact of that kind of export on the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the county, the environment of the county, the drains, highways, and other county infrastructure, economic opportunities in the county, and such other effects as may be relevant. And that'll give you the opportunity to develop more specific regulations if appropriate. It also imposes a 9-month moratorium on high-volume radio collector wells, stating that no person shall construct, maintain, or operate high-volume radio collector well unless it was in operation as of November 1st, 2023. When drafting this, I wasn't aware of specific wells, but the idea on that cutoff date was that if such wells are being used in the county and aren't causing problems, that wasn't your intent to interfere with that. I think since then I've heard there might be one, but and it also adds some administrative provisions if there's a violation of these ordinances.
Thank you, Doug. And any questions for Doug before we start with public comment? Okay, I see some new faces, a lot of familiar faces there, so we've arrived at the point in time where we would like to accept some public comment on this ordinance, the second reading of this ordinance. So we'll do that in an orderly fashion. Doug, you'll keep time for us, a 3-minute time limit per speaker. And when you get to the microphone, it is on right now. If you'll be sure to get as close to it as you can so that everyone can hear you. And then before you leave the podium, be sure to sign in with your name and your address. So is there anyone that would like to speak to this ordinance?
My name is Kay Miller, and my husband and I are co-presidents of the Americas Area Community Coalition. Our address is 8143 Old State Road 25 North, Lafayette 47905. As the Americas Area Community Coalition was established Our purpose was to protect the environment, including aquifers, rivers, wetlands, groundwater, or wells. And we support, as a group, the commissioners in any action that they deem necessary to take, and the elected officials in their opposition to removing massive amounts of water from this county and this watershed. Anything else along this line we do support. We know it could affect people in our corner of the county because some of us do get our water from either groundwater or aquifers, and we don't want any of that jeopardized. Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Bill Miller. Wife just gave the address. And this fight reminds me of what we went through 10 years ago when we started. And I just want to remind the commissioners here that somehow they're going to have to talk to the people, and because this is just one little part of the county, of the state. There's 92 counties, and we're just one. So we need to talk to the people and get them to talk to everybody so that we can get to it be statewide. So that's what we're going to have to do. And I know you got your work cut out for you. We have our work cut out for us. And no, we have not won yet, but they're not digging. So it is an ongoing fight. I see this being an ongoing fight for years too. But we have to start here, and again, we need to get it out to the whole state. So you got to get your audience talking to their relatives and any friends they have in the state and get it statewide. That's one thing that we did. We had other communities where we were able to talk to them, because we got to get to the legislators when it comes up, if it gets to a hearing. When it gets, we know we got a couple of them going to write a bill on it. It's going to the committee, the chair of that committee. People from his county has to talk to him, and that's where we have to get the word out to the other counties so they can help us. Thank you.
Your side, Dan. Your side, Dan.
Morning, my name is Dean Craig. I'm from 3492 East, 1400 North, Attica. I also have farmland here in Tippecanoe County also. One thing I want to thank you guys for all your sleepless nights and all your thoughts that went towards this. It's been no difficult for you guys. But last week, I had a senator call me from Hamilton County. Scott Baldwin was his name. He's a friend of ours. He comes up here and hunts with me and stuff at times. And one of the things that we had talked about, he said, we had a work session, I think it was the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and he said, when we were down there, we didn't talk about the marijuana laws. We didn't talk about the budget. Everything on the board was talking about the water. And that's why, I said, he wanted to know my thoughts, and we talked about it a while. And I said, what else? You're going to have some bills wrote up, and I said, you guys need to think about these. You might even need to think about them all summer and bring it back to, the 25 session and give it some time. Make sure you get it right the first time so we don't have to keep amending it all the time. And he said he agreed with me. I said, so I guess my question is, on this moratorium that we've already wrote, is have the extension ready and be willing to do that, and even make it longer if we have to, until they get some just legislation done on it and stuff, so forth. So that's basically all I have. Okay, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dean.
Morning.
Morning.
Tom Anzac, 6523 West, 300 South. I spoke here last time. I just want to come back and say hi, let you all know that I really appreciate everything you guys are doing. I know you're in the hot seat. We're hearing it all on all these media outlets. Recently, the one down here in Crawfordsville, I have every sentiment that that gentleman said about you guys. You're in a bad position, and the state should have never put you in this, but as part of this community, I want to really thank you guys for stepping up and being part of this fight. Last time I mentioned my book, today I brought it. Everybody like to see. There he is. It's a real book written by Kermit the Frog. One thing I would like to say, just so you guys know going forward, Mayor Gentry, which is going to be the recipient of all this water down there, he said that this is worthless. Our community disagrees. I want you guys to keep this fight going for us and let this go. We're not worthless. Our water resources are not worthless. And just because he says so doesn't make it so. So I appreciate everything you guys are doing. The community's behind you, and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the video link you sent us as well.
Appreciate anybody who got a chance to watch. I know it was a little long, but I'll be happy to share that with anybody who wants to see it. If anybody wants to borrow a book, I do have an extra copy.
Dan Gimmick, the town of Battleground, the Battleground Conservancy District, all support this moratorium. It will last for quite a while. And if they start drawing, it's going to affect a lot more people south of Granville Bridge all the way through Illinois. So it will cause a lot of problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning, guys. My name's Del Craig. I, too, I'm brother of Dean's, live in West Point, 6817 South, 700 West in West Point, Indiana. Again, thanks, council, thanks, commissioners and your council, the mayors, both cities here, for the hard work you're doing. You're doing the right things. My question really would be is actually for you, Doug, if you can help us. Help me understand something. So the moratorium is outstanding. It'll help us buy us the time to enable the work that we need to get done at the State House to put some regulations around water. State a little bit behind that compared to our 9 states in the West that I work closely with. But my question really is around what your strategy was, if you're willing to share, around the 9 months. I mean, so was there a reason for 9 months, or is there a reason why we don't have it set for 2 or 3 years to start with? So from one of my requests would be, to amend what you're currently written to make it longer. And so that way we know we get at least past a period of time for the studies that need to be done, and we need to wait to see what those are. So that's my question. I didn't know if you're open to having that dialogue during the day-to-day to the public, or is that just are you just wanting to hear from the community?
Sure. I mean, I'll answer that. And the 9 months came so that in hopes that the legislature would act in this upcoming session, and that would get us past not only the legislative session, but also then the enactment date of July 1st.
Sure.
Okay. With the knowing that we can extend that moratorium if they fail to act or did not act appropriately. So I think, we as a board will be very open to extending that if necessary.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the day after we passed this on first reading, we got news from leadership out of the State House that they didn't intend to address water issues. Hopefully, they are in the process of reconsidering that.
Correct, right.
And discussions with state legislators across the state is very important. I mean, we need to encourage them.
Which
to
we're
please-
doing, so we all need to continue to
Exactly,
do. And they've been
exactly.
very responsive thus far,
Exactly.
what I've heard. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
we need to encourage that, that they act, on legislation.
So with that said, is there still, and I understand, so is there a reason why, could it be amended? I rephrased my question. Could it be amended even now to push that date further out? So, I mean, either way, you're going to need to come back, right? If we need to come back and to reinstate and move the date later, or you'd have to, if heaven forbid, it'd be wonderful if it just got dropped. Would you be coming back again and removing the moratorium, or just let it stand? I don't know why
Yeah.
wouldn't hurt to let it stand.
Yeah.
It's not a law that's,
I mean-
it's in the way of anything, I don't believe.
Yeah, I mean, I think the 9 months kind of keeps a tight timeline on it, so
Okay.
that,
So you think that's
to-
in favor, that's one of the strategies,
Exactly.
is to push them?
To
Okay.
keep
Okay,
some
all right.
pressure there.
Okay,
and-
gotcha.
and-
All right.
In hopes, but like I said, we can easily, extend that if need be.
Great, great.
Yep.
Thanks for your time, your explanation.
Anyone else? I don't see anyone stepping forward, so. Any comments from the board? Okay. Jennifer?
Murtaugh,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Byers.
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-26-CM passes 3-0 on second and final reading.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we hear ordinance 2023-28-CM.
Second.
Mr. Hiddle?
Thank you. David Hiddle with the Area Plan Commission with one rezoning case to bring before you this morning. Case Z-2914. This involves a property on the far east side of the county at the northwest corner of the intersection 100 South and 900 East. It's a 22-acre, just under 22-acre property, currently zoned AW, agricultural wooded, to request us to rezone to RE, which is rural estate. If this rezoning is approved, it would pave the way for a subdivision which would create 10 new lots. Each of them are, the subdivision would meet all of the requirements of the RE district, namely that the maximum density would be 1 unit per 2 acres, that the subdivision is over a half mile from the nearest public sewer, and that more than 50% of the area within the subdivision is either wooded or untilled. In this case, 70% is wooded or untilled. So it meets all the requirements of the RE district. It was recommended for approval at the November 15th APC meeting, 15-0 with no remonstrance. Staff recommends approval and would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hiddle?
Yeah, Dave, I just had one for you. I mean, you have basically 3.5 acres, it's called a common area.
Yeah.
Is that basically each one of these plots are able to use part of that area for recreational, this, that?
Yeah,
And
it's,
who pays the taxes on it, the current owner, or is that then divvied up between the?
there'll be a homeowners association. It'll be jointly owned by all owners, and it's basically to provide access to Wildcat Creek for all properties within the subdivision.
Okay. The only question I had.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone from the public like to comment about this proposed rezone?
Would assume the petitioner is here. I hope they're here.
I don't see anybody.
PF.
David, is the petitioner here? Okay, so petitioner's not here. No one has stepped forward to comment. Jennifer?
Byers,
Yes.
Murtaugh,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Ordinance 2023-28-CM passes 3-0.
All right. Next, we have a resolution for our appointments to the Heritage Corridor Commission for 2024. The commission member will be Jim Andrew, and the alternate will be Madison Nearer. With that, I'll make a motion that we approve that resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Good morning, Rebecca.
I have two requests on your agenda. The first is a service agreement with Duke. We have an aging pole that cracked and broke, and so we need to replace it. And then while we're at it, we'll enhance the lighting in the front parking area.
And did you have an agreement on the previous?
No, that was installed by us, and there was no agreement on that.
Okay.
There are, the lighting that's at the back of the basketball court and by the dumpster is already covered by Duke, so this will just go under that agreement.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve the lighting services agreement with Duke Energy for the Cary Home site.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Duke Energy agreement as outlined. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And the motion passes.
Thank you. The second thing is an agreement with Stuart Berry. He's nationally known for his work with the domestic violence tool, a battery screener for adolescents and their families that will help guide us determine when kids are able to return home or stay in their home and when they need to be removed and more interventions happen. So this is a contract for him to train us on that tool, help us develop a service matrix as well, and is funded through our Juvenile Community Corrections Grant.
In a not-to-exceed amount of $9,450.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we approve the professional services agreement with Stuart M. Berry.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. Thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'd like to ask permission this morning for the CASA to apply for the CASA for Kids Foundation, which is a continuation grant in the amount of $55,000 thereabouts to support the part-time staff advocate outreach coordinator position.
Mr. President, I move we grant permission to apply as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes.
And CASA would also like to apply for the 2024 GAL CASA matching grant and the capacity building grants from the Indiana Supreme Court.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we grant permission to apply as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to apply as stated. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
And the grants to ask permission to accept, I'm removing the health one. I had a conversation with Amanda, we don't have that contract yet, so I'm waiting on that. The TEMA one is for 2023 EMPG salary award from IDHS in the amount of $69,827.63 to cover a small proportion of the salary for the EMA director, deputy director, and administrative assistant. The match will be the county would be the benefits as well as the remaining amount of the salary.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion, we grant permission to accept for TEMA as stated.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the grant. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes.
I'd like to ask permission for the Sheriff's Office to accept the 2023 COPS hiring program in the amount of $1.25 million for the 10 SROs to increase the jurisdiction in the community policing capacity to prevent and distribute this crime and violence for 10/1/23 to 9/30/28.
Mr. President, I move we grant permission to accept for the sheriff as stated.
Second.
You have motion and a second to accept the COPS hiring program for the SROs. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
The last one is for the Rural Transportation 5311 federal funding. The grant is for $199,000 for the Area 4 Agency on Aging and Community Action Program to continue the support of the Section 5311/PMTF rural transit in the Tippecanoe County. The exact amount is $99,500 from the federal, $11,000 and $1,400 from the state. I'm sorry, $11,014 from the state funds, and then the rest is a remaining match from the local funding.
What was the first number that you said?
$99,500.
Okay. All right.
So the whole grant is $199,000.
Okay. Mr. President, I'll make a motion. We grant permission to accept as stated.
Second.
We have motion to accept the grant as stated. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
We have an appointment to the Romney Regional Sewer District, and I'd like to make that appointment as Mr. Harold Butch Corbin as that appointment for us.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Harold Corbin to the Romney Regional Sewer District. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes. Do we have any unfinished business to be brought before the board?
I have none.
Reports on file from the Building Commission, and it looks like that's the only one that'll be available in our office immediately following the meeting. Any public comment?
Good morning. I'm Monica Casanova, Fairfield Township trustee, and I'm here to give you a report from the office. I sent you a quarterly report, but I also have here year-to-date report as far as assistance given.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So year-to-date, we've received 405 requests for township assistance. Out of those 405 requests, we've allotted 317 of those recipients financial assistance. The majority has been rental assistance for a total value of benefits of $119,738, and that's year-to-date. For utilities, we've allotted $3,000 and $3,053. For housing, year-to-date, $94,229. For food assistance, $2,261. We also have opened our shelter house next door. We have a family who have been staying there for the last 4 months, and they have a 6-month contract to remain in that shelter house while they find permanent housing. I don't know if you have any questions for me that I can answer.
Thank you very much for your transparency.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other public comment?
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.